Slavery would have worked. We just implemented it wrong. Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, that's how y'all sound when you say we're going to try socialism one more time. This time it'll work. Quick recap of socialism. Okay, Karl Marx thought it up in the 1800s. Vladimir Lenin made it real around 1917 under the Soviet Union. It failed miserably. 20 million people died from forced collectivization and starvation. Mao tried socialism in China in the 1900s. 30 million people died. Venezuela, once South America's richest nation, lost 75% of its economy under socialist Hugo Chavez. It's the same pattern every time. Look at North Korea and South Korea. South Korea, you've got a free market system that built an economy worth over $1.7 trillion. North Korea's socialist state leaves people literally living on less than $1,000 a year. Even Sweden tried full-blown socialism somewhat recently, state control, 80% tax rate, and that failed miserably, so then they freed the markets. It fails every time it's implemented, so why is the left so gung-ho for it? They're calling it a different name. They're calling it democratic socialism. D'Souza just calls it identity socialism. They basically fuse the old school Marxist collectivism with modern identity politics. So what's that mean? Everything is ours. It's not yours. It's not mine. It's ours. And you're the victim. And the tagline, tax the rich. But here's the problem. They're already taxing the richest of the rich 54% in some places. That's more than half their income. Some of you might think that sounds great. Bernie Sanders, for instance, proposed a 70% top tax rate. But here's the problem. The rich aren't the only ones seeing higher tax rates. You are too. History shows us that these taxes never stay at the top. They always trickle down to everyone else. I guarantee you, no matter what income bracket you're in, you're paying more in taxes overall than your parents were when they were your age. That's why the majority of Americans were very glad to see Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill pass, because that prevented a tax hike in every income bracket. So why should people favor capitalism in America over socialism? Well, besides the fact that capitalism has lifted over 1 billion people out of extreme poverty since the 1990s, it created the airplanes, the medicines, the smartphones, the Uber Eats that you use every single day. Why would any of these people continue to innovate or create if they knew that their hard work was not going to be rewarded? But to be clear, capitalism has its flaws. It generates greed and envy, but my friends, here's the thing, those sins will always be there. The secret is that Bernie Sanders is greedy too. That's why he has 3 homes and is worth millions of dollars. But the difference between him, a socialist, and a capitalist is that Bernie did not create that wealth. He stole it from you for himself. The capitalist created his own money and he simply might want to keep it. Capitalism, despite its flaws, creates prosperity, freedom, and choice. Socialism fails over and over and over again and only delivers economic stagnation. And before y'all come barking at me, go read George Orwell's books and then go read Dinesh D'Souza's The United States of Socialism, and then we'll talk.